Jim was kind of a lonely guy, and he was desperate to get into a good relationship. He used to visit different places, trying to meet as many girls as possible, to increase his luck. Still, Jim could never hit it off with anyone he met. Was there something wrong with him? Let's look at some of his adventures. The first one was at a cafe. Jim met a girl in his favorite cafe. He fell in love with her right away. Jim had never seen such a beautiful girl in his whole life. He was gonna learn her name and get her phone number. He came up to her and introduced himself. She was real nice. She said if he guessed her name, she would give him his phone number. Then the girl gave him a clue, written on a piece of paper. Jim immediately guessed the girl's name. Can you? What's her name? The answer? It's Eve. 31st of December, that's New Year's Eve. Now Jim had Eve's number. He promised to call her back. When Jim got home, he called Rick. Rick was Jim's best friend since kindergarten. They always shared everything. They decided to meet the next day at their favorite bar and have a chat. Rick wanted to learn more details about Jim's new girlfriend. Jim and Rick came to the bar, but it was packed. There were no empty tables. They had to share a table with 3 girls. Half an hour passed with no drama. Jim had finished his beverage, and he went to the bar to get another. Suddenly, Jim discovered that someone had stolen his wallet. It was probably one of those girls from the table. Who took his wallet? The answer? It was that third girl. Jim got his wallet back. He was so happy. Not because of the money. Money wasn't that important to him. He was just happy he didn't lose a small piece of paper, the one with Eve's phone number on it. He was really falling in love with her. February 14th was coming up fast, so Jim decided to ask her out. Jim was nervous, worried, stressed, everything. He wanted to have a perfect first date. He didn't want to go to a cafe or anything like that. So he invited Eve to a photography exhibition. Jim had actually worked as a photographer a few years back. He was going to tell Eve about the photos, and she would fall in love with him, hopefully. The exhibition turned out to be more exciting than he thought. There was a scandal at the exhibition of the famous photographer, Mr. Stranger. A visitor said that some of the photos were fake. He was really angry about the whole exhibition. He stormed out of the gallery. He was so mad it looked like he was gonna smash something. Jim wanted to impress Eve and find the fake photos. Which photos was the visitor talking about? The fourth photo was fake. Jim spotted it right away and showed it to Eve. She was surprised and impressed. She really enjoyed their first date. Jim was the first guy who had invited her to such an interesting place. Let's fast forward. Jim and Eve had been dating for a year. It was a happy time for both of them. They spent a lot of time together. It was great. They were like two sides of the same coin. Jim decided to propose to Eve. So one day, he popped the question, and she agreed. Their wedding day came only 2 months later. Wow, that's fast. The guests sat down, the music came on, and the wedding began. Suddenly, Eve disappeared during the wedding. No one could find her for ages. One of the guests decided to check the toilet. Eve was in there, unconscious. Someone had hit her on the head and escaped. Who did it? The answer? It was the waitress. She had a necklace which matched Eve's earrings. The waitress was taken care of, and Eve regained consciousness. They still got married that day. Man, she's tough. The wedding was beautiful. Eve and Jim would remember it forever. And what's more, Rick's father gave them a house. Man, it's good to have rich friends. The newlyweds settled down there right after the wedding. Rick came over to Jim's house for a barbecue. He saw that his friend was lying there unconscious. There was a police car and an ambulance already in the driveway. An uncooked piece of meat was lying on the cold coals. There was a tray with seasonings, a knife, and a fork on the table. Rick asked Eve and the neighbor what had happened. Eve said, "He was attacked about an hour ago. I was in the kitchen. I heard a strange noise and ran outside." The neighbor said, "My house is like 100 meters from here. I just got back from the store. I heard a scream and rushed over. Wait a minute, what's this?" Eve said, "It's my earring from the wedding." Rick understood who had attacked Jim. Who was it? The answer? It was the neighbor. He said that he just came over, but somehow he knew that that barbecue was cold. That's why he wasn't scared to put his hands in the coals. Rick realized that the neighbor was trying to frame Eve. Jim regained consciousness pretty soon after. The neighbor was charged, handcuffed, and dragged off. Jim's birthday was coming up in a couple of days. Eve didn't know what to get him. She asked him for help, but he refused to answer. But the next day, he sent her a strange message. Eve saw what it was. It was a hint of the present that he wanted. Help her decode the message. What present does Jim want? The answer? He wants her to pre-order a PS5. PlayStation. When Jim took a little time off work, Eve offered to choose a movie for them to watch together. You know, one of those romantic ones. Guess the titles of these movies by the emoji. What's the movie? Hey, leave a comment. Which one's your favorite? It's Beauty and the Beast. Pretty Woman. Cinderella. La La Land. A Star is Born. Up. That's my favorite. Titanic. Valentine's Day. Tell me in the comments.